David here with Figboot on pens, back again with another video. Now, I recently returned from a rather extensive trip to Europe. Who knows, if there's enough interest, maybe I'll post a travel vlog of my adventures, but to begin with, I wanted to focus on the parts of the trip which were fountain pen and stationery related. I visited Gothenburg, Sweden, then I headed down to Amsterdam with a day trip to The Hague, then I made my way down to Paris, and then finally over to London, with another day trip to Wales. It was quite the adventure. And along the way, I visited a total of 11 pen stores. So I thought I would rank them. Now, typically when I do a top 10 list, I just pick a 10 or more items and just say they're in no particular order. But this time around, I'm going to make a bold statement and actually rank them. Now, the top and bottom stores were rather simple to determine, but ranking the middle was a bit tougher. So, without further ado, here are the top 11 pen stores in Europe. At least the ones that I visited. Coming in at number 11, we have Rum for Paper. This is a shop located in Gothenburg, Sweden, and it kind of came in last place by default because I was only in Sweden for a short period of time, and even though it was located nearby my hotel, I was never able to actually make it over there while they were open. I was only able to take a peek inside their window. It seemed like it was a nice stationery store with a few displays of pens, but not an overly large section. The store did seem nice, though. Okay, for numbers 10, 9, and 8, I'm lumping them together, and that would be all of the Mont Blanc boutiques. They are what they are. While they do a very good job of displaying their brand, it's tough to categorize them as true fountain pen stores. Of the three I saw, I would have to say the one in the Frankfurt airport would come in at number 10. It was rather small. Considering it was an airport, that was to be expected. In Amsterdam, my hotel was just a block away from what was described to me as like a rodeo drive of Amsterdam, and there was another boutique there. It was a little bit larger, but I will say the gentleman manning the store was nice, but didn't have much knowledge in regard to the pen inventory. I made some comments about the Robert Louis Stevenson model where you twist the barrel and the flag changes to a pirate flag, and he really had no idea what I was talking about. And finally, coming in at number 8 is the store located in Paris on the Champs-Élysées. This was the largest boutique from Mont Blanc that I have seen. I'm only showing the pen portion here, but there were 2 other larger sections of the store dedicated to their other products. I'd say the security was a bit tighter here with a couple of people manning the door. This is a busy tourist area, so I can imagine that they have all sorts of folks wander in from the streets. But as far as the Mont Blanc boutiques go, this was the nicest I've ever seen. And with the Champs-Élysées having flagship locations for many different high-end fashion and lifestyle brands, it seemed like an appropriate place for it. Okay. Let's get back to the more traditional stores. And next up on the list, at number 7, is a small shop in Paris called L'Écritoire. Now, I looked up the name in a couple of different online translators, and the name varied. One said it meant the writing book, and another said the writing desk, and another said the writing case. So it's probably one of those three. It's located in Passage Molière, which is a shopping area that dates back to the late 18th century. Most typical Parisian shopping passages are covered, but this one has a cobbled walkway and some unique character and is open air. The store itself had a varied but small selection of entry to medium-priced pens. You could see here in the window there are pens from Kaweco, Pilot, Platinum, Caran d'Ache, Pelican, Twisby, and maybe some other in there as well. I'd categorize this as a stationery store that offered a few pens. And they had an interesting selection of inkwells, as well as many different dip pens. They had a fair amount of ink. The smaller bottles in the middle were their own house brand. I did pick up 2 small bottles, mainly because I was journaling quite a bit during the trip, and I had already emptied 2 of my pens that I brought. I didn't want to fly with a large bottle of ink, but the small ones would fit my needs well. Here are the inks that I picked up. We have the blue cyan as well as the orange. In regard to what they look like, this is what the blue cyan looks like. It reminded me a lot of Paniter turquoise, or even something like Lami's Pacific blue, but a little bit darker. And then that's what it looks like with the Yardeled bow blue. And then in regard to the orange, it's kind of a lighter orange as opposed to something that's more vibrant like the Akkerman Orange Boven. I thought it reminded me more of something like Diamai's Blaze Orange or even the Iroshizuku Yuyaki. I thought that they were a little bit more similar. Coming in at number 6 would be Harrods in London. Harrods is a world-famous luxury department store, and they have a fountain pen department. It has been a long time since I went into a department-type store to purchase anything, but it was interesting walking around and seeing all the luxury brands with their little in-store shops. And in one of the lower levels, there was a pen section, which was larger than I expected. There were 3 main sections, each focused on a large display area for a few pens rather than an extensive inventory. They seemed to focus on brands like Montegrappa, SD DuPont, Graf von Faber-Castell, and Caran d'Ache. As you would imagine, they cater to high-end clientele, and their inventory reflects that, with a number of high-end and limited edition pens. Here's the Montegrappa Frankenstein. Why did I say Frankenstein?
That's Frankenstein.
Here is the Montegrappa Frankenstein. I thought I was going to get my hands on one of those to review because there's a lot going on with this pen, and the diorama it comes with is pretty cool, but so far it hasn't panned out. Sometimes inventory of these special limited edition models can be a bit tricky. But the area was nice, and the displays were really well done. And the gentleman manning the counter was knowledgeable. So yeah, it was nicer than I anticipated. Did I purchase something at Harrods? Yes, I did. It was not a pen, but still something that was necessary. Okay, halfway through, on to number 5. And it's a store that I would say I was a bit disappointed in because I had high expectations. And that would be Akkerman in The Hague. Now, without going into a long, drawn-out history, there are 2 Akkerman stores, one in Amsterdam and one in The Hague. If you are not familiar, The Hague is about a 40-minute train ride from Amsterdam, and while Amsterdam is the capital of the Netherlands, The Hague is the administrative capital where the country's government is located. I took a day trip there to visit a couple of museums as well as a pen store. In regard to the museums, there was the Maritois Museum, where the famous Vermeer girl with the pearl earring is housed. And then there was the M.C. Escher Museum, which was interesting as well. However, I was extremely disappointed in the staircase at the M.C. Escher Museum. I mean, come on, they could have at least made an effort. In regard to the 2 Akkerman stores, a couple of generations ago, they were owned by the same family, but they subsequently split apart. So while the stores are still owned by descendants, the stores are only related by a common name and not by ownership. Akkerman in The Hague is where you will find the iconic Akkerman inks, and those are not available in the Amsterdam Akkerman location. They did have a cool fountain pen door handle that even had a nice ink window. Now, I don't know why my phone was having problems focusing here. The shop is not this blurry in person, but I left this in so you can kind of get an idea about the size of the shop. While they had some nice displays and an extensive ink wall, the main display case had all the pens out in trays, kind of like at a pen show, and they were kind of in there haphazardly, some facing one way, some facing another. Many pens were too large for the trays. It just wasn't the nicest presentation, which were for some very nice and high-end pens. I did pick something up, though. And what I picked up from the Akkerman in The Hague came in this box here from Diplomat. And what I picked up was a Viper. This is a Viper, and you know what, in person, I hadn't seen one in person. It's a little bit smaller or more narrow than I thought, but I've always thought that this was an interesting look to this pen. It does have a very snakeskin feel to it, the magnetic cap, and then kind of almost a vintage inspired section there. So look for a review for this pen in the near future. But that is what I picked up from Akkerman in The Hague. On to number 4 on this list, and that would be a shop I visited in Paris called Plume in Bille, which translates to feather and ball. It had a very classy storefront. It was certainly a high-end shop with a focus on nice display windows. They are a Mont Blanc retailer, so they had a number of the great characters and writers series. The stationery aspect of the store was a bit more limited. They did have some very nice Chinken Namiki models, as well as some other high-end pilot models. They also had a number of vanishing points. I almost purchased the purple Diplomat arrow there on the second shelf down on the left, but they only had it in a ballpoint. They did have these $350 Bic multi-pen barrels if you wanted to snazzy up your pen. I didn't get to spend much time in the store. It closed at 7:30, and I had arrived at about 5:30, but the woman there had asked me to leave because she had to close up the store early. I didn't hold that against her, but it was still a nice shop, and I wish I had a little bit more time to check everything out. Okay, down to the top 3. And coming in at number 3 is Appelboom in Amsterdam. Now, the store is actually located about half an hour outside of Amsterdam in a small town called Laren. Joost Appelboom was nice enough to give me a ride out to the shop. Laren is one of the more affluent towns in the Netherlands with its large homes and boutique shops. It kind of reminded me a bit of Carmel, California. A good percentage of Appelboom's business is online, so this store serves as a nice retail shop, but also the headquarters and warehouse for the online business. Most of the pen inventory is out on the sales floor, and then in the back there is a large room housing all of the ink. Out on the floor, they have a Jacques Herbin ink bar and a wide variety of offerings in the display cases. While I was there, it was nice. There were a few folks from the local pen club who came by to say hi, which was fun. If you are ever in Amsterdam, it is well worth a visit. Like I said, it's a little bit outside of town. I had checked, and you could get there by city bus if you didn't have a car. Amsterdam is one of those towns where when you visit, you really don't have need for a car, but it's worth the trek out to Laren, which is a cute town to visit anyways. From Appelboom, I did pick up something for review, which is an offering from Wingback, which is one of their roller balls. And I don't remember the exact name of this, but it does have some nice knurling on it, and you twist the end and it goes down and it extends. Looks like it is a ballpoint. If I said roller ball, did I say roller ball? It looks like a ballpoint. And I'll be reviewing this in the near future. On to number 2. And it's a shop that I'll admit that with all of my research for this trip, I hadn't discovered. The only reason I heard about it was from Joost Appelboom, who spoke very highly of it. And that would be Plume in Paris. The store is located a block off of the Champs-Élysées, very close to one of my favorite fancy pastry stores, Lauderay. Lauderay is amazing. Very high quality and unique pastries, and their macaroons are simply perfect. But in regard to Plume, I was speaking with the owner of the store, and while they do have a website, their business model is mainly focused on the in-person buying experience. It is a high-end shop and focuses on high-end brands. There were lots of special and limited edition models, as well as a decent selection of sailors. There were a lot of high-end Makie and Arushi and Chinken Pilot and Namiki offerings. And then there was something unique I hadn't seen before, which was the Arushi and Chinken holder for your Pilot Iroshizuku ink. There were a number of different types of bottle holders like this, which were exclusive to the store. This one here was made from carbon fiber, and you can see some wood models on the sides as well. There was even some holders for the smaller ink bottles in it as well. They offered custom notebooks with hand-painted art and several other unique offerings. As far as a physical pen shop goes, this one was fantastic. And it's where I made my most significant purchase of the trip. So what I picked up was my major purchase of the trip, and it comes in this nice wooden box. Nice wooden boxes like this usually have nice pens, and inside we have a Pilot Custom 845 in the vermilion. Now, I have one of the black ones, but I didn't have the vermilion, and it's one of my favorite pens, and I thought that I needed something to remember my trip with that was a little significant. It has an amazing nib on it, and this one is a broad. My other one I have is a medium, and so maybe one day I'll kind of do a comparison of both of them, but so far I've very much enjoyed my purchase and very pleased with it, and it's done a good job of helping me remember my European adventures. Okay, finally, coming in at number 1 in my list of top 10, well, 11 pen stores in Europe, it was very easy. It is Akkerman in Amsterdam. There is just so much to like about this physical store. First of all, Amsterdam is a very cool city. I very much enjoyed my visit there and would love to get back there again. The store was in a central location and easy to get to. I love the Parker Arrow door handle. The store is very large. You walk in and immediately you have the stationery and notebooks. And then in the back, there's actually 4 different levels to explore. You go up a few stairs, and then that's the area containing a good amount of the fountain pens. Then you go from there, you go down 1 level from the main level to a kind of a large notebook and stationery section. And then you go down some additional stairs to a room that has a lot of ink and office supplies. It's a very nice setup with a wide variety of brands and price ranges. It's really everything you would want in a brick and mortar store. I had a nice conversation with Rick, the gentleman who runs the shop. He was excited about some of the new stationery products coming out of Turkey, and I even picked up something that I had eyed years ago but never got around to picking up. Okay, first off, we had a few notebooks from Keratis, which is a brand that I was not familiar with, but they are from Turkey. And there is just so much cool stuff coming out of Turkey between Gravitas and Kilk and Studia Gakakan. And these are 52 gram Tomoe River paper notebooks, which are very nice. I know that they don't quite fit in the screen here, but I kind of like the logo there. This one kind of has the plain thin paper, kind of cardboard stock on the outside. Then we have this one here. Again, I know that just barely fits in there, but this is more of like a faux leather cover and is a little bit larger. Again, has some nice 52 gram Tomoe River paper. And then in the back, same with the other one, it includes a guide for both line and for grid. And I like that it has kind of wide ruled, and we'll call it college ruled, so that when you're using this, which I use a lot, that you can have the grid behind the paper, maybe only 1 sheet of paper, so you can see the grid. There you go. And you can see the grid there, and it makes it easier to write a straight line. I could barely write a straight line with the lines, but yeah, without it, it would be very hard for me to make the page look nice and neat. And then finally, we have one more notebook. It is a little bit larger. Again, it just barely fits in here, but it is very nice. This is the large was it A4 size? And again, the Tomoe River paper. And I would highly encourage you to check out the Keratis notebooks, because I do like the exterior, and I just feel that they just very, very much feel very soft. And that 52 gram Tomoe River paper is pretty much my favorite paper. But in regard to pens, I do have 2 things. First of all, I picked up something that I had my eye on for years and just never picked up, and that would be this Kaweco Sport. And this is the AC Sport with the carbon fiber. And these came in a number of different colors, and I just thought that this carbon fiber look was interesting. And that I had always wanted one of these, and it was reasonably priced, so I decided to pick one up. And then also while I was there, They let me know that they actually have a limited edition Kaweco that they are selling at the store, which is this one right here. And I'll actually be doing a full review on this pen in the very near future. But as you can see, it's actually engraved or stamped with Akkerman Amsterdam right there, and Kaweco AL Sport. And this is a really nice, very much like kind of light blue model, and I like the fact that it has that that black nib on it. I think that accents it very, very nice. But you'll be seeing a review of this pen in the near future. Oh, and then when you purchase this pen, I believe when you purchase this pen, you also get a little case with it. I'll let you know for certain in my review. But I thought that was the point was that that this was included with the limited edition pen, and it's a little case for your Kaweco. And actually, you can fit a couple in there. A couple in there actually fit nice. They do. There is no way to secure them, so they kind of roll around. But then again, the sports are really knockabout pens, and once they're in there, they do roll around a little bit, but they're not going to get damaged inside of this nice leather case. So there is a list of my top pen shops in Europe that I was able to visit while on my trip. I know that there are many other shops located around the region, and hopefully I'll get to check them out next time I'm on another adventure across the Atlantic. But I believe I pretty much visited everything I could in the cities that I was in. For my next big trip, I'd love to visit Italy. I think that there would be lots to do and see there, and then there would be lots of fountain pen related activities and sites as well. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.